Hey guys, happy Thanksgiving for those of you in the US. Well, actually, it's Black Friday, so I hope you did a lot of good shopping and got some great deals, maybe for fragrances as well. But anyway, the fragrance I'm reviewing today is from Aramis. It's Tobacco Reserve. And thank you to the subscriber who recommended this to me a couple weeks back. Even though most of you probably have already encountered this fragrance, because it was a very hyped fragrance about 2 years back, and I just happened to miss it. It seemed like it was reviewed by pretty much everybody, and everyone had positive things to say about it. So I wondered if this is another one of those talked about fragrances on YouTube, and I wanted to see if it lived up to expectations. So for me, if you see my thumbnail, it's sort of neither here nor there. So, I think it's a good scent, but I mean, number one, it's not 100%, for my taste. I also do think it's a little bit overhyped. It's not like it's anything I haven't smelled before. It's not like the quality is, out of this world, or, the blend totally unique. So anyway, let's just get to testing and smelling. The first thing I'll mention actually is that, this is one of those rare fragrances, at least I think, this is rare, where you, among designers, you have to wait till the dry down quite a bit, actually. So for me, about at least 2 hours or so for this to really be a more likable scent and just, to really shine. Because off the bat, I don't really enjoy the opening. So first of all, it smells kind of old school. It's a very, initially in the opening, it's a very bitter herbal, and old school smelling scent, that obviously you can smell the tobacco, but based on just the color and the trend of tobacco fragrances, I expected a little more sweetness and a smoothness, but it's actually comes across quite aggressive in the opening. But again, if you can sit with it for an hour or two, you are going to be rewarded with a much better scent later on. The other thing I noticed in my sort of initial impression of the fragrance was that it really, really reminded me a lot of Chergui. So it's got that same, when I reviewed Chergui recently and mentioned this kind of cherry-like sweetness that makes it a bit medicinal when you mix it with the tobacco. And I get a similar vibe here. And if you look at the notes, it's actually blackcurrant. I wouldn't have picked that out, but I got a very similar, bitter, kind of fruity, medicinal sweetness in the beginning. But this one maybe a lot less smooth and also a lot less sweet than Chergui, which has this kind of more syrupy, honey-like texture. Of course, you get that as well as the dryness. But here it's kind of, again, very sharp, pungent type of scent in the beginning. And I think perhaps also, the nutmeg, which often gives a creaminess to fragrances, here is kind of, it's this overall, the scent smells very peppery, very spicy, peppery, almost a hot feeling, again, scent, and also, very mossy because of the oak moss. And the tobacco here, I expected a very clean, based on watching reviews, I expected a very clean, leafy sort of tobacco. And yes, this has an overall herbal feel, but to me the tobacco is like a very burnt type of smell, very burnt, dry, dusty kind of smell. It's like smelling ashes, or smelling actually the cigarette ashes. So it has a little bit of that, and I think that's why it also smells a little bit mature, even for me, for my taste. And I like fragrances that are mature, like Acqua di Parma Sandalo, which is a very mature type of scent. But it's nice. It's just that this wouldn't be my first choice. when reaching for either a cold weather scent or a tobacco scent. I think tobacco tends to go better. Well, either you add more sweetness and go in an ambery direction, or something like Versace the Dreamer works really well. But here it's a little bit off. And then, like I said, over time it does get better because all that harshness kind of goes away, and so this turns into almost like a gourmand fragrance to me. It's actually quite dense feeling and quite it really sticks to your skin. It's a very strong scent as well. So I get this, and it does go in a direction that's different from Chergui. Chergui, while having the richness, it has this also airy texture, right? It's sort of like you don't know exactly where the scent is coming from. It creates a scent cloud. Whereas this one, it just kind of sinks on your skin. It's very, very strong and dense. And I'm not getting, of course, the dry down right now, but I do know, as I was testing it outside for the whole day, yeah, it turns into a much kind of sweeter, yes, and smoother, which is really nice. Much more likable for me, and it goes in a kind of vanilla direction, and so I think the tonka bean starts to become more dominant in the later dry down. The tonka bean in the beginning, and I have seen this with tonka bean and some other fragrances as well, it has a very spicy character, and again with the oak moss, the nutmeg, the tonka bean, overall all these facets kind of make this a very bitter, peppery, spicy scent in the beginning, which transitions into a vanillic, gourmand-like scent. So I mentioned the strong, bitter, herbal nuance is what I don't like about this fragrance. And let me just give you a couple other descriptions to really kind of describe what I mean. So it kind of smells, there's a mintiness to it, I think, because of the herbal heart. It smells like peppermint a little bit at times to me, and also camphorous, and so the experience is literally like a peppermint chewing gum, which I didn't expect to come from this fragrance. Now I mentioned that this reminds me a lot of Chergui. There's actually another fragrance this reminded me of, and it's Grand Soir, because the tonka bean is so prominent here, the same way it is in Grand Soir. So it has the same kind of nutty, spicy, and quite sweet scent for this one later on. Grand Soir in the beginning, almost a rubbery kind of feel. This one is in some ways smoother, but it has the same level of vanillic sweetness, and ultimately it's a very creamy scent. Now, going back actually, and I'm sorry to jump around, but in the middle stages, there's also a smell, and my mentioning all these different smells could mean that this scent is a little bit complex, but there's also a smell that is kind of reminiscent of tea, in a very, because of the notes of iris and clary sage, it's a very like herbal, floral, dark bitter kind of tea scent, tea-like scent that I get. And when it dries down, again, as the sweetness is amped up, the scent, I keep mentioning a vanilla scent. It's kind of also like a little bit different because it's a tobacco-based scent. So to me, it's like butterscotch. So it smells like butterscotch mixed with the pininess and also a licorice-like bitterness. So interesting scent, but again, on the mature side and very, very strong, a little bit harsh to my nose. So, this isn't going to be a scent for me, but I can understand why other people like it. You have to really like tobacco scents. It's not I don't think it's a super approachable kind of tobacco scent. And also, let's quickly mention the price, because I think when it first came out, before it was discontinued, it was quite affordable. And so if it were still that price of $30 or so, even $40, I think I might keep it and I might actually recommend it more. But when you have to pay more like $70 or so for the 3.7 ounce, that's quite expensive, and I personally would spend my money elsewhere, unless I was a big fan of tobacco. So anyway, that's my take, guys. Let me know what your experience is with this scent. I'm sure there are many fans of the scent out there, so they're not gonna like hearing this review, but that's my honest opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed it and hope it was helpful. I'll see you in the next review. Bye.